Good morning. I'm Eric Murphy. I am a member of the Board of Trustees of the Unitarian Universalist Society of Amherst, if I could pronounce it. And I use he, him pronouns. Welcome to you all, old friends and new, in the Zoom and in the sanctuary. You are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether today is your first time in our midst or you've been here 1,000 Sundays, we are stronger because of your presence here today. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Just as you are welcome here. We are all welcome here. As part of our effort to seek feedback on the governance of our congregation, you are invited to join us during the first 15 minutes of any board meeting, of any regular board meeting, and chatting with us during the social hour, which is after today's service. Or you could email us at board@uussocietyamherst.org. We are grateful that you can be in community with us. Thank you.
Reverend Rachael Hayes, minister of the Unitarian Universalist Society of Amherst. I use she, her pronouns. And today we are talking about pluralism. Just to begin, we ask that the balcony seating area be reserved for those who are wearing masks this morning. And if it helps you to have a large print hymnal, and there are no orders of service today, you're not the only one who doesn't have one, or if it would help you to have hearing assistance, talk to a greeter or tech person and we will help you out. I call us to worship this morning with these words from UU young adult Ella Boyer. As we create and share sacred space together, let us reflect upon what brings us here. We have all come here for different reasons, from different decisions, faced different challenges, and shared different love. And yet all of our differences have led us to this space, right here, right now. Some believe we are here for a greater purpose. Others hold fast to a claim of complete coincidence. Others still lie somewhere in between. There are so many differences and barriers between each individual It would seem at times as though the odds were stacked against us, becoming one whole, as we believe different things, live and experience different things, and value and hate different things. We are the children of God, the children of the earth, or fully grown adults here as a piece of the ongoing cycles of the universe, the children of the stars. We all have different definitions and explanations to who or what and why we are. Perhaps all are right. Our revelation is not sealed. Despite all that is different, there is one thing that is certainly the same. Somehow, and we include our Zoom on this, somehow we are all right here, right now. We are growing and changing and discovering all here, all together, sharing the same sacred space and time we have shared for years throughout generations. Constantly evolving, constantly changing. Let us continue. Let us change and fight together. Let us adapt together. Let us grow together. Let us worship together. Do any of the kids want to come up and help with the chalice lighting, or were they all so excited to do RE that? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do that chalice lighting we like, right? There's a part that you know, and then there are some new ones that I am going to teach as we go, okay? So remember it starts like this, yeah? We are Unitarian Universalists with open minds, loving hearts, helping hands, and the glow of generosity. And this is the part where it's new. We find truth in many stories. We know all are loved and all are connected. Thank you. And I invite you to rise in body and spirit to sing one of our favorite hymns, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. And what is exciting is that we have an extra line to sing as a counterpoint, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times. So if you want to sing the counterpoint, jump in.
Any of the kids would like to come forward, you're welcome to, but this is definitely a hearing story, so if you're more comfortable in your seat, you are welcome to stay there. After the story, we're going to head downstairs, so if there's anything you need to gather up, any backpacks, jackets, small mammals, whatever you've brought with you, needs to come down. A long time ago, before there were any people around, the animals were having a fight. You see, back then, all of the animals of the land, all of the creepy crawlies, all the way up to the big bears and moose, they thought they were better than those flitty birds that flew around in the sky. And the birds, well, they disagreed. They thought they were better. They could fly wherever they wanted. Streams and trees, even forest fires didn't bother them because they could just fly away. Now, this fight had been going on for years, especially bear and crane. For some reason, those two really kept at it. And after years and years of this, with all of the animals taking their own side, they came up with a plan. They were going to have a ball game. All of the birds of the sky versus all of the animals of the land. They were going to have a ball game that went like this. There was a goal on one side for the land animals and a goal on the other side for the animals of the air. And there was a ball. And whichever team scored the very first goal, well, they won the debate. Now, there was no need to pick whose team you were going to be on. For if you were a bird, you were with Crane's team. And if you were a land animal, you were with Bear's team. And so the morning of the big game arrived, and everyone came to the giant clearing with the two hoops on either side. They gathered around with a line down the middle. And then they heard a noise. Hey, guys, what about me? And they looked over and they saw a strange creature, no bigger than a field mouse, with fur on its body and big outstretched wings and little teeth. Who was it? It was Bat. You guys, what team do I play on? Bear and Crane looked at each other. Well, said Bear. You can't be on our team because you have wings. You should be with the birds. Crane looked at Bear. I'm sorry, Bear, but that has those terrible teeth and that grisly fur all over its body. Bear and Crane looked at each other again, and for the first time, they came to an agreement with each other. You can't play, they said. I'm going to give you 3 reasons you want me on your team, said Bat. 1, I can see at night. 2, I can fly faster than you. Even at a dive crane, I can fly faster than you could even think of it. And 3, I eat mosquitoes. I could eat 1,000 of those mosquitoes in one night. But Bear and Crane had made up their minds, and they said no. And Bat swooped off to take a nap in the hot sunlight as the animals started playing their game. Well, as soon as it started, that game was intense. First, Deer had the ball, and he was batting it down the field with his antlers before Crow suddenly swooped in, flapping his giant black wings, and grabbed the ball when Deer was confused. As Crow was flying toward the goal, Porcupine popped up. "Ouch!" said Crow, as he had swooped too low, and Porcupine speared that ball on his spines. As Porcupine was slowly waddling down the field, who should appear but Hummingbird, who poked that ball with his spear-like beak and started flitting off toward the goal, and it went like this. As soon as one animal looked like they were about to score a goal, one of the other ones swooped in and took it. Back and forth, until Bear called for a timeout. Crane, sit down, said Bear. It's getting late and the sun is setting. We need to postpone this game. Well, Crane was about to agree, but Owl said, No. Keep the game going. I can see at night. And some of the land animals also agreed. We can see at night too, they said. In fact, we've been very tired all day long, but we are ready to play now. And so they made the agreement to keep going. And as the sun sank lower, those animals that could see at night started playing. But they also had another problem. They kept getting bit by these flying little buzzy things. Ouch, ouch, they kept saying, ouch. As soon as one of them would get the ball, they'd get bitten and they'd have to go, they'd leave the ball as they ran off. They were swatting at their faces and scratching at their backs. They were flapping their wings in front of their faces, and no one could concentrate on the game until they heard a little voice. Hey guys, you want some help? And suddenly, Bat swooped in, flitting around, eating as many of those mosquitoes as he could. And suddenly, the field was clear. Great, let's get back to it, said Bear. Wait, said Bat. Whose team am I on? Crane and Bear looked at each other. They were exhausted. All of the animals were exhausted. We don't know, Bat, but thanks for getting rid of the mosquitoes. Why don't you be on our team, said Bear. Hey, that's not fair, said Crane. Bat flies. Bat's on our team. Bat has fur and teeth. You said so yourself, said Bear. Bat is on our team. As Bear and Crane continued to argue, some of the other animals started talking. As they talked, they realized that a lot of them had more in common with each other than they'd thought. And some of those birds had more in common with some of the land animals. The flying squirrel started talking to the ostrich, and they both said, we're not very good at flying, but pretty good at running. As they talked, as Bear and Crane stood in the front arguing, the rest of the animals drifted off into the forest to talk or sleep or eat. And eventually Bear and Crane looked around and noticed that they were standing there all alone, still arguing. And that was the day that the animals realized that they did not need to have such a strong division between the animals of the land and the animals of the air. And though Bear and Crane still thought each other maybe had a point, it was little Bat that had showed them how much they all had in common. Today in religious education, we are going to be putting, hopefully, the finishing touches on some of our set decorations and costuming. If anyone here has any child-size, I don't know why you would, but child-size woodland creature costumes, please let me know. And I am going to invite all of the children to head downstairs with me. If there is anyone in here who was hoping to go to the meeting about Our Whole Lives for the K1 class, that is happening right now in the conference room. So you can also head down there now. And since all the children have left, I am going to as well.
Let's sing Building Bridges.
Bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
This reading was written by Reverend Erica Hewitt. Ding dong. When my friend Beth answered her door one day, she found a pair of earnest Mormon missionaries, young men wishing to chat with her about their religion. Beth being Beth, she invited her visitors in, listened to what they had to say, and in response shared her good news, her beliefs about justice and inclusion, of being responsible for the most vulnerable among us, of countering oppression with love. The point wasn't to change their minds, and the missionaries must have realized that they weren't going to change hers. Beth's intention was to create a moment of connection beyond or in spite of opposing beliefs. At the end of their visit, one of the Mormons asked, "Shall we pray together before we leave?" "Yes," said Beth, "I'll go first." And so she said a prayer, and then the missionaries said a prayer, and they parted ways. Days went by, the weather grew oppressively hot. Again, one afternoon, Beth heard her doorbell. On her doorstep were the same missionaries, wilting in the harsh sun. "Can we have some water?" one of them asked. "Hello," replied Beth. "I was thirsty, and you gave me drink." "Of course, come in." The young men drank their water, thanked her, and left. Beth never saw them again, but those missionaries have never left my mind because their story forces me to examine my own heart and the way its doors sometimes stay stubbornly closed. If you or I knew that a stranger was suffering from thirst outside our door, wouldn't we readily bring them water? But in order to offer that hospitality, first we have to identify ourselves, sometimes in inconvenient or uncomfortable ways, as helpers, willing to offer kindness or connection to someone we might disagree with. Of all the doors they'd knocked on in all the neighborhoods in Beth's town, a pair of devoted Mormons sought help from Beth, not just because she had embodied the religion of kindness, but also because she risked opening her door to them the first time they visited.
Be thus unto yourselves. Be thus unto yourselves. Be your confidence. Be your confidence. Hold to the truth.
half ago, the last time I stood in this pulpit, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, this same sanctuary hosted our local interfaith Thanksgiving service. We heard from Pastor Jeffrey Schultz of Emmanuel Lutheran, Reverend Megan McDermott of Grace Episcopal, Sister Claire Carter of the Peace Pagoda, and Rabbi Benjamin Weiner of the Jewish community of Amherst, in addition to a wonderful choir of mostly UUSA folks. The video is up on our YouTube if you want to see it. Even though the local clergy have held this service every year for I don't know how long, it was a tradition when I arrived and continued even through COVID, it might not have happened this year. It has felt harder to keep in touch this year. We have all felt a little more scattered and a little more fried, and the connections that held us through the deep COVID years feel looser again. I found myself wishing that I had stronger connections with my neighbors, that these calls about the service were a little less cold and out of the blue. And that was before Hamas's attack on Israel and the Israeli government's retaliation in Gaza, which has been so hard on a lot of us, but especially those who are Jewish or Israeli or Muslim or Palestinian or more generally Arab. Rabbi Weiner said something in his statements during that service that hit hard. Ours was the only congregation that reached out to the JCA after the attack, that they have felt increasingly isolated. I don't mention this because I want us to congratulate ourselves. The gesture we made, it was simply sending them cards of solidarity. I wish it were more. I would love for us to have more dynamic relationships with our neighbors than we do right now. Our neighbors at Hampshire Mosque did not participate in the service, and we felt their absence. I worry that unlike our reading with the Mormons and the drink of water, the lack of a significant relationship made us feel like an unwelcoming place this year. Naz Muhammad did invite our congregation and all of the congregations in town to their Friday prayer service, and I will be going this Friday. I would love if several of you came with me. Email me if you want to come so we can coordinate carpooling. We're talking about 1 o'clock. Relationships are hard, and relationships that are defined by difference take work. They are hard and worth doing. Eboo Patel put it like this: religious pluralism is neither mere coexistence nor forced consensus. It is a form of proactive cooperation that affirms the identity of the constituent communities while emphasizing that the well-being of each and all depends on the health of the whole. It is the belief that the common good is best served when each community has a chance to make its unique contribution. We value pluralism as Unitarian Universalists. Pluralism is one of those proposed Article 2 values that this summer's General Assembly will vote on. And I have a slide about that if you can move to it. Yeah. Article 2 says this about pluralism as a UU value. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. We covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. How much work does it take to honor that we are all and all sacred beings? starting from the theological diversity within our own congregation, Unitarian Universalists whose humanism, Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, mysticism, paganism, and naturalism are part of what makes them Unitarian Universalist. How do we reach toward our differences rather than brushing them under the rug? And how do we confront intolerance when it comes up in ourselves, our congregation, and the other communities of our lives? I've heard a lot of anti-Semitism in the last month, and a little bit of it in our own congregation. I'm terrified for my Muslim and Jewish friends when I read the news of rising hate crimes. And it breaks my heart that the man accused of shooting 3 Palestinian college students in Burlington last week has participated in Unitarian Universalist congregations for years in New York and Vermont. We value this because we don't have it all said and done. It's not enough for us to benignly appreciate our neighbors and not discriminate against them. We need to build communities of positive connection where we need one another to be our truest selves in community. It's scary, and I confess to you that I feel like I have not been doing enough. Maybe some of you feel the same. It's not that I or we don't care, but it has something to do with not having energy, infinite energy. This is true. But I think the biggest barrier for a lot of us has been the fear of doing or saying the wrong thing. Don't worry, we will get it wrong. Lean into that concept of beginner's mind we find in Buddhist teachings and accept that we will say or do something wrong. If we're going to be wrong sometimes, one way or another, it's our role to show up to these relationships and be lovingly wrong in them until we learn how to do better. That's all. Until we begin to look like a door that has a glass of water behind it, even when it is closed. Until we remember to be in community together all year, instead of just when something bad happens or it's Thanksgiving again. And I'm saying this to myself too. We are called to be lamps unto ourselves, to know our truths and hold them well. And we are called to build bridges between our divisions, though we've broken our vows 1,000 times. It is a dance, and one worth doing. We will not do it perfectly, so let it be a dance. And now, I invite you to rise in body and spirit to sing, Let It Be a Dance.
Let it be a dance. time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Morning star comes out at night. Without the dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance.
We come together in community to hold our joys and sorrows together, to share our strength and ease one another's burdens, to be known and loved in community. I invite you to come forward and light candles for your joys and sorrows, and if you choose to speak your joy or sorrow briefly into the microphone. We'll begin with our in-person attendees, and then I'll invite those attending by Zoom to share as well, and I'll light candles in the sanctuary for you. I light our first candle today in memory of Jan Cole Stryker, longtime member of our congregation and wife of Jay Stryker. May Jay and their families be held in care. Our prayer was composed by Reverend Lynn Cox. Spirit of life and love, known by many names and yet fully known by none, we give thanks for this time and this place of renewal. We give thanks for the ability to begin again, after disaster, after tragedy, after loss, after meeting the challenge set before us. Grant us the courage to continue on the journey, the courage to speak up for the well-being of others and ourselves and the planet. May we forgive each other when our courage falls short, and may we try again. Grant us hearts to love boldly, to embody our faith and our values in living words and deeds. May our hearts open to embrace humility, grace, and reconciliation. Grant us the ability to learn and grow, to let the spirit of love and truth work its transformation upon us and within us. Grant us the spirit of hospitality, the willingness to sustain a fit dwelling place for the holy that resides in all beings. Grant us a sense of being at peace in the world, even as we are in motion. Let us cultivate together the strength to welcome every kind of gift and all manner of ways to be on the journey together. To this we add the silent prayers of our hearts. in peace.